Oop, there we go. Okay. Shalom, everybody. Wow. This definitely was not a planned was not a planned topic here. However, I think as preparedness we go, we do need to kind of talk about the huge elephant in the room. And by huge elephant in the room, I'm talking about 30,000-pound bunker busters that President Trump decided to preemptively strike Iran. And this one's probably going to get some of you might be, like, oh, how dare you say that? Oh my God. It's definitely going to be controversial. Number one, personally, I think this was one of the stupidest things that a sitting president could have actually done. Once again, we're possibly on the precipice of sending young men and women back to the Middle East to spill blood for yet another war. And I know some of you like, well, America has to show them. Iran was not an immediate threat to us. Iran was messing around with, I'm going to steal a term from Bear Independent on this one, Middle East, New Jersey. Because YouTube really hates when you say anything disparaging of Middle East, New Jersey. So if we go back, we could see that on Yom Kippur, Palestine, Hamas most likely, attacked Israel during one of the most holiest of feasts. Israel, Middle East, New Jersey, retaliated and started bombing Gaza. Middle East, New Jersey, in that situation, did not necessarily draw first blood. And I know a bunch of you are going to start rattling the cages. I'm neither for or against either groups there. I don't like war, plain and simple. And I really don't like getting involved in other people's war. And I'm going to tell you, this episode right here is probably not best for children. But I'm going to tell you something. America is like a teenage boy when there's a sopping wet you-know-what around, and it's just got to stick its dick in it. Every time there's a war, America's got to be like a teenage boy. Ooh, I got to stick my dick in it. Enough. We've spilled enough blood for other people's civil wars, other people's problems. We need to stop. We need to fix this country. So I'll get off my high horse on that one. So Trump decides to preemptively bomb nuclear facilities in Iran. Now, Iran is going to retaliate. We know they will. And they're already starting to retaliate by putting a blockade in one of I want to say the Suez Canal. I can't remember exactly which canal it is. I'm looking for it. But they are going to start blocking the canal. Great. That's where a lot of oil comes through. So number one, we could start actually we should expect a lot higher prices in gas. Now, if there are potentially sleeper cells and stuff like that here on the homeland, possibly we could actually expect probably retaliatory strikes on U.S. from sleeper cells. Is it going to happen? I don't know. Do we need to run around paranoid like, oh my God, they're going to strike at any moment? No. We need to be vigilant at this time. We need to be aware. And this does not mean going around and looking at any person that possibly looks like they're from that or have, names that look like. It's just, don't start with that racist, paranoid bullshit. Okay? We don't have problems. Well, I don't have problems with the peoples. I have problems with governments. I personally think it was, once again, this was a horrible idea. But for some reason, Trump felt that we needed to do this. Okay, cool. Now we have to pay the price of his decisions. So, right how we called a little trolling. Let's see, currently on the X, it's not politically correct to use the term regime change, but if the current Iranian regime is unable to make Iran great again, why would there be a regime change? Great. The troller in chief. We can laugh at it. We can look at it that way. Sometimes we do have to kind of laugh. But I'm looking at OSINT Technical to see what they have to say here. So that's why my eyes are kind of over here. We're looking at the potential. They're pushing for impeachment of President Trump. They're forgetting there's the War Powers Act. It gives him the authority to order attacks without congressional permission. Presidents have done this prior. It's not always a good thing. Sometimes it's a good thing because if we have to wait for Congress to decide on something, we could be actually smoldering in flames. So we have to kind of think about this. We got the typical 1812, the War of 1812 rhetoric. If you don't support Donald Trump when he did this, then you're not a patriot. Look into the War of 1812. There was huge things that if you were against going to war with England during what we would call the Second Revolution, and it's essentially the War of 1812 actually solidified America as a country, and that was the hammer to the nail that just sealed it. But this is something that we are going to have to watch. We're going to have to pay attention to, because this may lead to I'm not saying it will, may lead to another war in the Middle East. So we also have to consider, oh God, I almost forgot, we have U.S. bases all over Syria, all over the Middle East. We should expect retaliatory strikes against those in the Middle East. I believe North Korea has started to rattle the saber, as they will send nuclear components to Iran as they stand in solidarity with Iran. So, we have a lot of people talking about Russia, Ukraine being a proxy war. Yeah, it's a proxy war. That's all my stuff being packed, moving around in the back. Sorry about that. Proxy war of we're going to fight World War III here, and then from that we have Iran-backed Hamas attacking Middle East New Jersey retaliatory, and now we're like, America's like, well, let's get in this now, so we're not the latecomers as we were in World War I, World War II. Could we be looking at World War III? I personally think we've been looking at, I think it was Putin that said, we've been in World War III for a while, America just hasn't figured it out yet. And I think there's actually some actual truth to that. Same thing with the America. We're watching the collapse of the American empire. It's not necessarily a civil war. Everyone's like, civil war. No, we're looking at a collapse of the empire. And it just comes out to be what will be the next, what will rise out of the ashes? What type of America? And watching the No Kings protests, which I find very comical. Essentially, it was Orange Man Bad protests. They're okay with kings. They're just not happy with this king. So it's just, but, calling it the Orange Man Bad is bad marketing when you look at all the money and you trace the money that goes through, all this stuff. So it's like, well, okay. But hey, you're upset. And I mean, you know what? There's plenty of things to be upset about with Trump, anyways. I mean, he came in and promised a lot of things on day one. On day one, hasn't happened yet. Oh, we have to give it time. We've given it time. So we need to think about this. We got currently we have Vice President Pence said, "I couldn't be more proud of President Trump's leadership following strikes on Iran." Okay, so now we have all the war hawks. Lindsey Graham is probably just frothing at the mouth over this because that prick just can't wait to start. Yeah, I have no likes of Lindsey Graham. That guy is a warmonger, just looking to collect more money on the blood of the youth. Sorry, my nose is itching really bad, and I'm trying not to overly rub it. So, but that might be the powers to be telling me you've rambled enough on this. But let's close it with this. Remember, if we are going to start going into war, there's things that are going to be bought up by the military. That's medical goods. So you want to use, Refuge Medical. Get first aid kits, best in the U.S. U.S. made, family. I want to say family owned and operated. They pretty much are. They are family operated. Refuge Medical is just awesome. Get your medical gear while you can before the military starts buying up all the first aid kits. Ammo, get your ammo. Stock up on gas as well. Ammo is probably going to get expensive again. Gas is probably going to get expensive again. Food shortages, we've been watching them. Things are slowly going down. The dollar bill is shit, and it continues to plummet. It becomes more and more worthless. Diversify. Do your prepper stuff. Do not slow down. And I'm afraid that a lot of you, Trump's in office, I can slow down. And that was probably your biggest mistake, is you don't ever slow down, because you don't know whether it's going to be a tornado, a volcano, an earthquake, a flood, a hurricane, a loss of a job, a horrible illness that takes you away from work because you don't know. Or then it could be World War III, it could be a collapse, it could be, you don't know. We prepare for the unknown. So with that, as always, watch your six, especially now. Shalom, and thank you again for watching. I'm out.